So I've come to the main canyon and I just want to get a feeling for the status of fall color here. And it's getting a little bit brighter now, or I'm getting a little better sense of color perception here. But many of the maples seem to be stripped of their leaves, though the ones that remain appear to be a bit on the green side. And the oaks are kind of done, so it's kind of odd. It seems like some of the maples kind of finished up early, whereas some of the other ones are just kind of getting started. And I don't think this is going to be the sort of year where we're going to have the really full canopy of fall color. I think the last year that I had something like that here was probably in 2010. But it means that there's going to be lots of opportunities on the ground, and also some opportunities for some photos with some really delicate leaves. But I think it might be a matter of finding that one tree that's really full of leaves and then see if I can find a way to, capture that against some sort of nice background. But I'm gonna keep exploring around here and see what I could find. So this stand of trees behind me is one I photographed maybe like 3-4 years ago. And I used a little bit of a longer lens. I used a 450 to kind of isolate just those trees kind of a little higher up and not showing the trunks or anything. And it turned out pretty good. I had actually some really good fall color. It was kind of a yellowy, kind of an orangey sort of color. But there was some distracting stuff in the background I didn't really like, and it never really made it to my portfolio. But every time I visit Zion in the fall, I always visit these trees and kind of see how they're doing and kind of see if there's be a potential for photographing them again. And this year could be that year. My video camera here has a 20mm lens on it, and I actually found that while just recording a little bit of B-roll footage of them, it's actually not a bad composition to show the base of them all the way up to the leaves up top. They're certainly a little on the green side right now, but over the next few days, I think they'll be turning a little bit yellow. And I think I'd rather shoot them when they're kind of in transition than wait to be too late and then have no leaves on them. But this is definitely something to keep on the back burner as far as a photo. I know when the light's gonna be good for it. It's gonna actually be backlit by soft reflected light, which is pretty cool. So pretty glad to find this, that it's actually gonna be a potential photograph. And I gotta keep scatting around and see what else I can find. I have a feeling that this is going to be a year that many people will say that Zion didn't have very good fall color. And it's true to a certain extent, because some of the cottonwoods seem to be losing some of their leaves before the color really turns. And when they do turn, it's not a really saturated yellow. And same thing with the maples. The maples are kind of losing their leaves, and some of them have even some really, they're very thin as far as leaves go, and the ones that are still on the tree are very green. So I don't know if it's wind or what conditions it was this year that caused that, but I'm not bummed about it at all. In fact, I see this as a pretty awesome opportunity because things look different now than they would on a year with very ideal fall color. And just going for a little stroll along the river here, I found several things that are going to be perfectly shootable even tomorrow. So some trees that I wouldn't normally see having, really good color, they have great color this year. So I'm absolutely enjoying my little meander here along the river, just taking in the sights and the sounds. And this is the really peaceful feeling that I love about Zion, kind of getting away from the crowds and the people and all that, and just wandering along the trails here with some deer and some turkeys. This is one of the disadvantages of having a big pack. It's got me good. This is not my most glorious moment. The tree won. I came here to shoot fall color. Didn't realize the trees would be attacking me, but I've been warned. So after grabbing some lunch, I went back over here to the east side, and there's a scene I found yesterday that could make for a good photo, but I'm gonna need to have some reflected light, and right now we got some overcast skies. But I'm willing to set up the camera and wait, because if we do get some reflected light, it's a pretty cool fall color. Some really, really nice red maples that have a really strong glow on them. Very chaotic scene, but I took some test shots yesterday with my camera here I'm using for video, and looked like there was a decent composition to be had. So I arrived at my shooting location here, and I have a feeling it might not be able to take a photo today, but I'm still setting up the camera anyways, because quite frankly I have nothing really else to do today. These overcast skies, as you see behind me here, they kill any chance of reflected light. So in order to get the really good light, I need to have clear skies. And what will have happen is the sun will hit the wall that's behind me here, and that will reflect into the scene. You can see my camera set up there, and then that is what I'm photographing. At least I'd like to photograph. The log with all those red maples there. But I need to have basically sunny skies, and I need to have no wind. I got a feeling that that is not going to happen today, but we'll see what happens. Since I'm going to have a lot of time to kill, I decided to go just wander a little bit. So I just left my camera in place and decided to go and check out one of the side canyons. And I got probably about 20-25 feet up that canyon. I saw some footprints in the sand. And I'm going to have to look up online when I get back to see, compare them to mountain lion footprints, but there was no claws, so it wasn't a dog or coyote or anything like that. And it did look like it was very fresh, and it did look like it was probably from a mountain lion. So you gotta be very mindful in these areas, and that's why I don't like to be in these washes, before sunrise or after sunset. Definitely has my head on a swivel right now, that's for sure. Well, the sun has come out, but it's still gonna be a little while until the sun tracks far enough for the photo I have set up to be shootable. But in the meantime, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the photographers I run into here in Zion. There's a strong camaraderie, because I run into these same photographers year after year and get to know their style and everything else. And we usually kind of run into, I'll run into maybe 2-3 photographers a day and kind of catch up and kind of get a feeling for what we found, what we shot, and all that. And it's so nice to have an environment where everyone is so excited about photography and out trying to pursue that one photo and try to find that one scene, as opposed to something like at some of these iconic locations where a bunch of photographers line up and there's always going to be someone who's going to be complaining about gear and someone who seems to be rather bitter about life. But it's just so nice to have such a great group of people to run into on a yearly basis here in Zion. But now I'm here on my own, just me and the mountain lion. Within the course of about 5 minutes, the sky went from completely overcast to blue, no clouds. So that is one of the things that I'll need if I'm going to be able to take this photo today. I still need the sun to move a little bit further to kind of duck behind the hill that I'm kind of aiming my camera towards. But the fact that the clouds went away, at least for now, is good. I'm also going to need to have calm conditions with no wind. And that could very well happen, but I'm just going to keep hanging out here and see if I get it. So I went ahead and exposed 3 sheets of Velvia 50. I had some really nice windows when the wind was very calm. I don't know if it was completely dead, but if there was any movement, it should hopefully be very, very minor. But I'm very excited about this because this is something I did not think was going to happen today. I didn't think I'd have this opportunity because when I showed up here, it was cloudy. There wasn't really any chance on looking at the weather app of having a sunny day for the rest of the day. It said partially cloudy all day long. And when I went through here yesterday, it was very, very windy. So the combination of it being windy and cloudy is not what I needed to take this photo. But I showed up, I set up the camera, I waited, I lose track of how many hours, probably
3-4 hours here, just waiting for these right conditions, and I got them. And that's one of the things when it comes to landscape photography. You need to have a sense of patience. But here's the other thing. Landscape photography, if you let it, will teach you to have a sense of patience, because that's what worked for me. I didn't used to have the mentality of showing up in an area, kind of believing that a composition would work, and just waiting and waiting for those right conditions. But now that's what I do, because this thing has taught me to do that. So this is pretty exciting to expose 3 sheets on a day that I didn't think I was going to expose anything. So I know with my 2 cats, they're afraid of 2 things: water and wolf howls. So my plan heading out of here is to carry bottled water. If I get attacked by a mountain lion, I'm going to squirt it with water and I'm going to howl like a wolf. I think it's going to work. Spider-Man this one too? Do this. Spider-Man! If you love this content and want to help support my journey, you can do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, telling a friend, or sending a voluntary contribution of just $24 a year with PayPal or Patreon. I depend on the generous support of people like you to produce this ad-free content. For more information on how to support me, please visit the donations section of my website. Thanks in advance for your support.